Can I be a businessman who plays and enjoys his family? There's so much deep shame that I was carrying. In college, I cheated my way through college, even though I studied nonstop, because I believed that I was broken, that I was an imposter. Somebody's gonna find out that I'm actually stupid.
This is Elevate with Jack Delosa. Okay, this is one of the most powerful conversations I have ever had in thinking about how to best capture what is discussed in this conversation. This is a conversation about how to be free. This is a conversation about how to be free of your past, how to be free of your inner critic, how to be free of the expectations of others and society at large, so that you can live your best and most inspired life possible. In this conversation with the great man Preston Smiles, we discuss human development, how the personality is formed, and most importantly, how you can live your most inspired life. This man is a master in psychology, in physiology, in astrology, in connection to source, and you guys will see all of that come through in this very powerful conversation. I'm Jack Delosa, and this is the Elevate Show. Mr. Preston Smiles, thank you for being here.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Rah! Let's go.
Yes. I kind of wish we'd been filming for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely went deep, man. Birds of a feather often flock together.
100%, my brother.
Yes.
100%. I want to touch on something that you were just speaking to us about a moment ago, which is even as the nervous system is forming, we are absorbing things that will later become patterns we play out in our life. Can we start there? Talk to it, because you're so well versed in human psychology. You're like a walking encyclopedia, whether it's psychology, astrology, human behavior, human development. Like, you've got it all unlocked. So I kind of want to go a little bit everywhere and dive deep into all of that. Talk to us about how formative our formative years are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Erickson's developmental stages.
Yes.
For anybody who would want to really look this up. But I'm just going to speak from experience, and
100%.
Anybody can pull from that. Technically, there's something called implicit memory, and there's explicit memory.
Yeah.
Implicit memory is body memory. This is before we could actually form cognitive awareness around who we are, where we are. We were receiving signals from our caregivers, mothers, fathers, grandparents, whoever it is.
Yes.
And oftentimes, while the nervous system and the psyche is forming, we are scanning for what is safe and what is not. And so as little babies, even 2-3 years old, we're still having implicit memory, having body memories. So,
Yes.
For example, with my children, and I have 4 kids, basically under 4.
Yeah.
4 under 4, which is absolutely crazy. Anybody who has kids is like, yo, what did you do? Right?
What did you do?
What I'm deeply aware of and making sure of with my wife is that they have lots of hugs, lots of kisses, and when they are throwing tantrums, right? Because oftentimes we think that tantrums are bad and wrong, and we as adults want to control those tantrums. But we've come to understand that a child that throws a tantrum is the opposite of traumatized, right? If a child feels safe enough to share and be fully present with their experience, then they are not traumatized yet. Now, I
Wow.
put yet on there because I believe, this is my philosophy, everybody's going to mess their kids up.
Yes.
We are all walking, talking versions of that. Even if you're
100%.
so awesome that you mess your kid up by being so awesome,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Then the standard's so high,
100%.
right? And so coupling that with any given moment, because children are egocentric. So each and every one of us were born believing that if something occurred, it was because of us. It was our fault. Even up to 10 months, we don't know that there's a separate self. There's not me and mommy, me and daddy. There is just us, right? And so as our nervous system, our psyche is forming, right? Like a 2-year-old can talk, or my 2-year-olds can talk. but they probably won't have a single memory around this time. But what they will have is the implicit body memory of hugs, kisses, and a felt sense of safety around their expression, which that's the part I wanted to get to. Because often we have so many little good boys and little good girls walking around trying to get it right for mommy and daddy, and they don't understand that was imprinted into their nervous systems before they had thought. Right? If a child is having an experience, even a happy, a joy-filled experience about something they're experiencing or noticing, and that parent is having a stressed out day or whatever the case may be, or just doesn't want the kid to be too loud because we must be civilized. We're at the grocery store or we're at church. You got to do it right. And that parent punishes that child for that. Over time, and not much time, that child will have an implicit body memory that expression is not safe. And that 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years down the line, some people die, go to their graves still operating from that memory and not the truth of their being.
It's so powerful, isn't it? I love what you said, that we all are going to stuff up our children one way or another. 100. So I've been doing a lot of childhood work, inner child work over the last couple of years, and even when I got to the States, it's a couple of weeks in Arizona doing some sort of in-house courses over there. And that's one of the thoughts that I had as I was spending a couple of weeks going really deep into inner child models and processing through that work, is it's so easy and almost inevitable to come out of childhood with stuff, right? Mum didn't love me enough. There's some abandonment stuff. Mum loved me too much. Yeah. There's some enmeshment stuff. Mum and dad didn't praise me enough. Low self-confidence. Mum and dad praised me too much. False empowerment. Right? Mum and dad didn't feed me enough. Mum and dad fed me too much. It's like, to all of these things, there's what Aristotle would have called the golden mean. Somewhere in between where there's this golden mean, which is impossible for any parent to walk on all of the different layers and multidimensionality of what a child is absorbing.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that and just how important it is for us as adults to go back and do the inner child work?
Yes, but before I do, I want to just speak to everything you just spoke about is the nutrients.
Yeah.
For for life experience.
Yes.
So the reason why I think, especially in the Western ethos, that Western consciousness, this idea of perfection.
Yeah.
Right? There is no such thing. What is perfect is navigating one's own dharma in this lifetime.
Yes.
What is perfect is having the nutrients, aka the abandonment or the enmeshment or whatever else is there, to journey and use that to grow our tree. One of the things that and I use a lot of metaphors and analogies and things of this nature, the productivity of the seed is not determined by the actual seed, because the seed contains the blueprint for the entire tree. What makes, or what is the difference between a tree that grows 1,000 feet in the air and provides food and shade and shelter, and a tree that grows 3 feet in the air and dies, is not the seed, but the soil that it's planted in.
Yes.
And the idea that the soil is like, oh, it's so good. What is soil, right? Soil is decaying leaves. It is fallen fruit. It is death, right? We are planted in death, and that is what creates the most fruitful trees that come onto the planet. And so I'm just really a proponent of remembering that all of this is perfect. We signed up for the chaos.
Yes, sir.
We signed up for the sacred ass kicking and the acceptance of that.
Yes.
Take it even further, the celebration of that.
Yeah.
is what makes the biggest distinction and difference between somebody who's living an extraordinary life and somebody who's living a life of quiet desperation, whether they have 100 million in the bank or nothing. It is not what is occurring in their external, but how they're viewing their internal, or how they're viewing what's occurring inside of them. Their own relationship with the inner critic that tries to sabotage and destroy and murder, right? That relationship is the one that is the biggest one on the planet.
As I said, I've been studying the inner child work for a couple of years now. That is the most powerfully I have ever heard it expressed. The enmeshment, the abandonment, the too much praise, not enough praise, parents work too much, didn't work enough. They're all the nutrients
100%.
to be celebrated.
Yes.
And the dharma and the soil that is giving life to the seed.
Yep. It's beautiful.
That is very beautiful.
Dude, take it even further, right?
Take it even further.
We've all heard this term, are you working out because you love your body, or are you working out because you hate your body, right? Well, just let's expand on that and going to the inner child conversation. Because oftentimes, I coach high-level people, and I coach people who, wouldn't be considered that in the business world. Regardless of who it is, I always have the same conversation with them, which is there's only two games ever happening: the outside-in game or the inside-out game. The outside-in game says that cars, money, women, status, hair, biceps, booty, likes, comments, all of those things produce my worth. I feel good when I have. The inside-out game says I am perfect, whole, and complete, but not finished. I am a unique emanation of the Most High, and that thing has never and will never make a mistake. And therefore, when I see the beauty of a rainbow, I go, wow. When I see a puppy playing, whoa, my God, look how cute. I must see myself, because if you smelt it, you dealt it. And that's the name of the game for me is, am I going into my inner child because I think I'm wrong, broken, or messed up in some way? Or am I going into my inner child work to enhance and to add to the tapestry of this beautiful life? Because those distinctions, one is I'm broken and I need to fix. The other is this is fun. The other is this is interesting. The other is let me free myself just a little bit more, because what imprisons us also points to our freedom. That game is the one I'm up to. And I would rather, and I tell people all the time, we don't need to go back there. We can. And I can take you deep. We could get messy. We could get dirty. We could get raw. But we won't go back there, not in my coaching, if you're doing it because you think you're broken.
Whoa. That is a fundamental game-changing paradigm for that kind of work.
Deeply.
I'll be honest, a lot of the challenge I have with some of that work, particularly when you go into recovery-based work, which I've never been in recovery-based work, but I've got a lot of friends that are, and I think there's so much in a lot of the recovery programs that's so good, and there's some really good recovery programs out there that are just exceptional personal development programs.
Yes,
and the label of, if you had an addiction once upon a time, that you're diseased.
Yeah.
Now, again, I fully appreciate and honor that view of that work has worked for a lot of people that have previously experienced addiction. And the label of I'm broken, I'm diseased, I need fixing,
that
has never sat well with my soul. And so when we come back to the inner child work of, we're not going there because there's something wrong with you that needs to be fixed. We're going there to bathe in the enrichment of the soil to enhance who the fuck you are.
Correct.
Game-changing idea.
100%. It will completely shift how we enter anything, right? Some people right now clicked on this podcast because they think there's something wrong with them. There's something fundamentally broken about them. And let this, whoever that is, and you know who you are, let this be a reminder. That's not true. I will speak from my higher self to, through, and as your higher self to remind you that that's not even close to true. There are no mistakes on the planet. There is not a hair on your head nor a leaf on any tree that is a mistake. All of it is perfect. Even the worst parts, we use it. Right? Now, here's where it gets tricky. We don't want to use that as a scapegoat to bypass some of the clearing that is necessary for one to be a weapon for what I call God's love. Call it whatever you want. But the name of the game for me is to be a weapon. That's why people meet me and they're like, I don't know how to place you. I'm like, because you can't. I'm fucking everything. Right?
Yes, you are.
Yep. When I move out of the way, there is no I anymore. Now it's just space. And space can do anything. There's context creates content, right? The context. So we don't want to bypass, right? Using the, I think this is an analogy, but maybe it's a metaphor of a water hose, right? We kink that hose.
Yeah.
And we try to shut down certain emotions. We try to shut down certain aspects of us. I tell people all the time, a part of why the porn industry and the sex trafficking industry are so big is because well-intentioned mothers who were traumatized by well-intentioned fathers, those mothers try to beat out, try to educate out parts of their sons that they didn't like from their fathers.
Right.
And so what we get is a bunch of little fakers.
Yes.
A bunch of little chameleons that figure out how to make mommy happy.
Yes.
And as soon as the door closes, that primal aspect of them must come forward. Anything we suppress will express somewhere.
Yes.
Right? So it's coming out in these really interesting ways. Non-productive ways, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But still not bad, wrong.
It's coming out sideways.
Yes. Would I prefer people not sex traffic? Absolutely. So for any of you asking or challenging, because I already hear your thoughts, wait, are you saying sex trafficking is okay? Absolutely not.
No.
From where I stand. But I can only see so much. I can only see so much. I think that the woman who created Mothers Against Drunk Driving would definitely love to have her daughter. And a lot of people have been saved because her daughter lost her life. And so the question is saved for what? Right? Gnostic Gospels of Thomas, he says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. That, for me, is the ultimate question we all get to keep asking ourselves. And that's moment by moment. We want to think about it from business and entrepreneurial shit. Oh, I'll make this money. I'll be a high performer. I'll do this. Oh, look how big my dick is. Oh, look at my dick. Yes, right? You play the physical game for now, right? We know what it's really about, right? I have a client right now who makes $100 million. You know why he signed with me? Within 10 minutes, I was like, you're a slave. You're a fucking slave. And I'm bigger than you. And that bothers you because you have way more money, but you can't fill the space. This is no different than the Ninja Turtle or all the other things you were earning as a kid. Mommy, look at my A. World, look at my Ferrari. Fuck your Ferrari. Who are you? Right? And are you filling up this now moment with poise and beauty and power? Or is it a front? Are you dressing up a piece of shit? He got it instantly. Where do I sign? Right? This, right? And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Hear me loud and clear. We were in the car talking earlier about, you asked me how life was going. And I said, life is fucking interesting and awesome and challenging.
Right.
And I said, in the order of marriage, business, kids. Marriage is the hardest one for me. But that's my dharma. Right? I don't know if that's true for everybody else. So hear me loud and clear. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect with this. I'll say I visit it more often than most people, though.
Yeah. I think one of the things that can deter the high performers that you're talking about from looking inward is when we're really good at creating the externalities. I got the Ferrari. I've got the $100 million a year.
Yep.
I've got the 1,000 staff.
Yep.
The property. I've got it all.
Yes.
And so according to my perception and everybody else's perception, it's all good. And that can actually act as a deterrent from ever reflecting inward.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about the importance. Because here's the thing. Neither you nor I are saying there's anything wrong with $100 million in the Ferrari. You drive a Porsche, I drive a Maserati. We both live in beautiful houses. You know, there's nothing wrong with the pursuits. I think we're here. I don't think we're here to renounce all of that stuff and go sit in a cave somewhere. I think it adds to the richness and the experience of life, right? I think the nothingness is where we came from and where we return to, and we came here to fucking live, so let's do it, right? And so there's nothing wrong with the pursuits. There's nothing wrong with the externalities. In many ways, they can be beautiful. I think the question you and I are asking is, what is the fuel you're using to get there?
Yes.
Can you elaborate and go a little bit deeper on that?
Yeah.
And your experience as to what you've seen with super high performers and the journey they go on to succeed in the external, and then what are the triggers and catalysts to get them to come back inward?
Well, there's two different conversations going on, and I'll break it down a couple different ways. One, I'll do it with the stages of consciousness, and my mentor and the person who married my wife and I, Michael Beckwith, taught me this. So the first stage of consciousness is by me. To me. There we go. First stage of consciousness is to me. This is where we believe that the world is happening to us. This first stage, or state of consciousness, better word, is where we believe that we are victims to our, traffic, weather, family. If my mom would have been, if my dad would have been, if I was 3 inches taller, if my dick was a little bigger, if my ex was this, if my butt was this, all of that stuff, right? And all of us go through all of these states, and sometimes in a day, right? The second stage or state would be by me consciousness. This is the Gary V, the Grant Cardone, I'll make it happen. This is when we are forcing, if you may. This is creator consciousness. This is, I will put my flag in the ground and I will make it happen, right? Burn my boats, storm the island. Absolutely beautiful. The third stage, and this is the one I wake up talking about, thinking about, and asking about. The third stage / state is through me consciousness. This is where we say to whatever we believe is orchestrating and rotating the planet, what would you have me say? What would you have me do? How can I best support humanity now? And in order to go from by me consciousness to through me consciousness, we must surrender. The bridge is surrendering, right? To go from to me to by me, we take responsibility. So the bridge from to me to by me is responsibility. I will no longer be a victim to the weather, the traffic, my wife, ex, et cetera, my husband, right? So we take responsibility, we take it. Instead
Yes.
of placing blame, we take responsibility.
Yes.
We get into buy me, ooh, ooh, ooh. We start to see results. Look at my Ferrari, look at my house, look at my this, look at my that, look at my bank account, look at my clothes, look at my titties, look at all of it, look at me, world, I made it. And then, at some point, for some people, it's 60, 70, 80 years old that they realize that this life is not about what we accumulate, but what we give, what we experience, how much we can fill up the now moment with presence. Most people don't get to this till later in life. They recognize and realize that all of those toys are no different than the Barbie dolls and the Ninja Turtles and the G.I. Joes and all the other things they played with, that all of those things will be trash or belong to someone else. But what you can keep, what you can keep is the memories. What you can keep is the presence, right? And so oftentimes from to me to buy me, someone will create so much and it's so powerful and amazing externally, but internally, it's not fulfilling.
Yes.
Internally, or let's take it, there's different domains of life. So oftentimes you can ask those people, how does your partner feel? Do your kids feel like that Ferrari? Like, does that matter to them? Or did you choose something to distract yourself with that is easy? It's easy. I'm going to say this, and this is going to piss some people off. Business is easy. Relationship, challenging as hell.
Yes.
Business is logical. It's structure. It's reason. We can stay in the masculine mind and create business, and this is for anybody, man or woman. But to step over into the feminine, which is uncontrollable, that's a wildfire. You don't know where that's going and where it's stopping, and where the masculine is always trying to get to zero. So, okay, here's the set point. Let's do what we need to get to zero. Boom, we landed, we made it. With the feminine aspects of ourselves, relationships and things of that nature, we never land. We never know. We're never complete. This is why especially men get upset in relationships, because they're like, I did this and I did that and I did this, and then she still complained. Yeah, it's because she's tapped in. The thing that drives you crazy about her is the thing that drives you crazy about her, right? Ooh, it's so beautiful. So the surrendering of all that you created to say, now, how would you use me? How would you use me in this moment? God, Spirit, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, Allah. How would you use me now? That, game changer. Now, the fourth stage, and I know some of you are asking and wondering, the fourth stage / state is as me consciousness. This is the Buddha nature. This is Christ consciousness. This is that moment when the Molly hits. This is that moment when the mushrooms completely land. This is that moment at Burning Man when the LSD hits. This is that moment in church where you get the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit. This is that moment in meditation. This is that moment in breath work where you surrender and you know that there's nothing to say, nothing to do, nowhere to go. All is God, all is love, and you are here present in this now moment. Those states are possible at any given moment. And awareness precedes choice. We can't intervene in a world we can't see. And to now answer your question in a short way, entrepreneurs, high performers, I believe, are waking up to that.
Yes.
My business partner got started because he saw a video from Ty Lopez.
Right.
In his garage with the Ferraris. And that opened up a whole world for him, which then led him down a lot of paths. And so we don't get to judge Ty Lopez and his Ferraris because that's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
We're all walking each other home to the self.
Shit's getting real in here. I think I'm experiencing that level 4 shit. Preston Smiles. There's a couple of things I want to go deeper on.
Yep.
To get from level 1 to level 2 is responsibility. To get from level 2 to level 3 is surrender. To the untrained eye, that can feel like the opposite, almost. Because to go from it's happening to me to it's happening by me, I need to take control. I'm at cause.
Yes.
To go from level 2 to level 3 through me requires surrender, which is very different. So it's the whole what got you to where you are isn't going to get you to where you need to be.
Correct.
With the, you mentioned Gary Vee as an example. And to be honest, this is something that I still am navigating, as I'm sure you've worked out by now, just from, the short amount of time we spent together over the last couple of weeks, is when dealing with, like if I use myself and Gary as examples, right? When dealing with companies at scale, and you've got, whether it's 100 people, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, whatever it might be, it can often feel like in order to manage effectively and efficiently an organization of that size, it requires, as you said, structure, process, controls, for lack of a better word. How do we best encourage, and how do people like me, let me ask the question differently, how do I balance or navigate the journey from, I am at cause for everything that's going on in my world, and given the stage of evolution we are on planet Earth right now, in the game of business, that requires me to play a certain game. How do I balance 2 and 3, or navigate from 2 to 3 without having it the organizations fall apart?
Yeah. It's a powerful question, man. And I think that a lot of people are asking themselves that, right? Because I think that if you're really listening, you can hear that call. You can hear that still small voice that's saying, over there, over there.
Right.
I'm going to address a word that I heard you say, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs and high performers use this word, and it's a covert word for control.
Yeah.
Balance doesn't exist.
Right.
Something has to give. Everything comes at a cost.
Yes.
So the question one gets to sit in is, what's most important, really? Not just important to my ego, but what's important for life? What would I die for? What is needed of me? What is being asked of? What do I feel is being asked of me? Because a lot of times entrepreneurs will hear that call and be afraid to answer it.
Absolutely.
Which then becomes its own prison.
Yes.
Because from a conscious level, you can feel that.
Yes.
It's underneath all of it, you can feel the cowardice that sits there. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have moments of that.
Yep.
We control what we can. Oftentimes, we humans are trying to control the uncontrollable. And it's because we've already made an assumption. And this is where I'm going to challenge you. And same thing I challenged when I was coaching Ryan, your friend, right?
Legend.
The assumption is that if this crashes, if this falls, if this fails, what does that mean about me? What does it mean about my legend?
Yes.
Which is still all ego and all pointed here. Now, even take that further. What does it mean for the people I employ? Right? And it assumes that you were holding it together in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? There are powers that be, whatever we want to call those things, that have orchestrated so many things that you could have never controlled, ever.
True.
Right?
Very.
And so what's interesting is it's like the person who's calling in a partner, right? And they start dating and they meet somebody they really like.
Yeah.
And they meet in the consciousness of like, ooh, free and flowy and yes and all of these things. And the closer those hearts get, the more probably both, but at least one of them will start to say, well, how do I keep this? How do I own this? Right? Which is, in fact, disowning what even magnetized those people in the first place.
Yes.
So take that to business.
Yes.
right? You said yes, you surrendered, you listened. You said, what, spirit? That? Okay, let's go.
100%.
Right? Boom, this thing blows up. Then you
Yes.
said, oh my God, spirit, is it an island? Is it a this? Is it a that? I'm a yes to all of this. Oh my God, boom, this thing blows up. And then at some point, it gets so big or so important to the ego that we go, now I can't let it die. It must stay how it is. Now here's the breakdown. The blood does not belong to the vein. The fruit does not belong to the tree. It belongs to the ecosystem. When we try to hold and hoard, we stagnate, and that can create dis-ease and death. The distinction between a flowing river and a swamp is an inlet and an outlet. And oftentimes, we entrepreneurs get so attached, that's the key word, attached to what it looks like,
Yes.
to what it feels like, that we forget that we are all just riding a wave. We're all just riding a wave. And every wave, some of them feel tsunami-like. And we get addicted to that. Oh my God, the drop was crazy. We get addicted to the tsunami. We get addicted to the 100-foot wave that we forget that the trickle is just important. An ant and an elephant is the same in the mind of God. And so we tune in, tap in. We can start to figure out that there's nuances. There's people ask me all the time. They're like, yo, what do you work on? Bro, there is constant nuance if you're paying attention, if you're actually viewing what is occurring. Right? I can feel it. I can feel it in this podcast. There's moments where I want to do good. And then there's moments where I'm clear.
Right.
Use me. Let's go.
Right.
Present to the
Yes.
presence, right? Those are two different things that I can
Yes.
catch even here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if I can catch that here, where else is that occurring? That goes back to the inner critic.
Yes.
We can't stop that mind
Yes.
at all. We can redirect the mind. We can give it marching orders. Right? We can move it out of the way through practice, just like everybody works on their biceps, right? They work on their booty, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And so that's the name of the game for me, is letting go of the attachment
Yes.
to how it's supposed to look, because it assumes that this wave and the way that wave came from thousands of miles away, that's the only wave, right? I built this thing. It's the only wave. God will forsake me. The universe will never send another wave. Catch it. It's there. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying. Okay.
That's exactly what happens. Is entrepreneur, anybody,
Yes.
starts out inspired, which is in
Yes.
spirit.
That.
Right? And they're riding the way, and they're at one with the universe. And then it becomes something, and then it becomes, I must keep it, I must hold it, I must own it. And that's ego.
Yes.
One of the really interesting things you said before when you were talking to this new client of yours with $100 million in the Ferrari is, you're a fucking slave. One of the things I had observed of you, even prior to us meeting in person, was that you are really free. What was your journey? What was your practice that others may be able to glean from, that currently that are sitting there going, you know what, I am fucking attached. I'm attached to a whole bunch of shit. And I feel trapped. And brother, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. It's fucking rare that you meet somebody as free as you. And so what's that journey?
Yeah, man. I'll break it down in another distinction. So, 4 aspects of what it means to be human. We are physical beings, biological beings.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot going on in here.
Yeah.
Right? As we spoke before, there's implicit and there's explicit. Implicit is body memory. These somatic bodies have so much knowledge. Number 2, we are linguistic beings. We build worlds with our language. Without the distinction of door and doorknob, getting out of this room would be very difficult. But with the language of door and doorknob, worlds open to me. Right? Number 3, we are social and historical beings born into beliefs and interpretations. Now stop right there for a moment, freeze frame everyone. That is one of the biggest reasons why I experience, I would say, more freedom than the average person, is because I am deeply aware. Now, the body stuff, working on. Language, working on. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. I say that to myself all the time. Speak what you seek until you see what you said, right? I'm speaking things into existence. I'm using the power of the tongue internally and externally. I'm prophesying about this life and this experience and how I'm going to ride this particular wave. But go deeper. Number 3, social beings born into beliefs and interpretations. Fuck. Let that land. Let it land. Everyone listening, watching, let it land. Social beings born into beliefs and interpretations. Now, what beliefs and interpretations would one be born into? Well, let's start with money is the root of all evil. Let's start with men are supposed to have all the answers. We're supposed to have it figured out. And if you don't, you're a failure. Where'd I get that? Terminator. Where'd I get that? Rambo. Where'd I get that? Clint Eastwood. Right? For me, especially early on, because at 33, I moved back in with my mom. I was making $36,000 a year, and I was fucking awesome.
Wow.
And I could not break this thing. I didn't understand it. And so I had to look, what is occurring? What is blocking me? What is making this very challenging? Oh, I was born into beliefs and interpretations around money, around scarcity, around business, around abundance, around being black, being in this skin suit. This dark skin suit, the one that I hated as a child, where I fried my hair and asked for blue contacts. This skin suit, right? Having to carve and chip away at the David until the masterpiece was there. So I started to look at all the little nuances and ways in which things were, and of course, to me. Let this land, everybody. Right now, wherever you are, if you are in a room and the lights go out, and this is a room you've lived in and swam in and just spent your life in, if the lights go out, how easy would it be for you to find the light switch? Because that is how it felt for me. That wasn't, of course, living in my body. I felt, of course, black people have to struggle. Of course, it's going to be harder for me. Of course, white men want to hurt me and demonize me. Of course, I had a bunch of courses living in my body. And so in order to free oneself, we must question. There's a book called The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And he said in that book, to get your questions answered, what you type in Google, and your answers questioned. And for me, I'm going to say it again for those in the back who didn't let that land. Get your questions answered, and then your answers questioned. My freedom daily comes from that statement. Because whatever isn't of course in me. Why am I so fat? Why is it not working? Why does everyone else have more money? Why does everyone else have this? Why is this not working? Why is my wife this? Why is my husband this? Any answer that comes back, because if you type it in Google, Google, whatever you want to call it, it will give you article upon article, videos as to why. And very rarely do we stop and say, but is that true? And even if it is, do I want it to continue to be true? What that does right there is give me power that I had been giving away, whether conscious or unconscious. I instantly take my power back in that moment when I say, whether it is or is not, whether it has been true, what do I choose now? How do I want to proceed with the conversation of money? How do I want to proceed with the conversation of, can I be a businessman in Chucks? Can I be a businessman who plays and enjoys his family and experiences the fullness of life? Can I do that as me? Me, like for real. There's so much deep shame that I was carrying. So much shame, so much pain, so much not enoughness. I went to special education classes when I was very young. In college, I cheated my way through college, even though I studied nonstop, because I believed that I was broken, that I was an imposter, that they would find out. Somebody's going to find out that I'm actually stupid. I still battle with that voice. The difference is that it's not really a battle anymore. It used to be. Now it's a simple conversation. I hear you. I see you. I know you're here to protect me. But what's the truth, right? What's the truth? The truth is that Source, divine intelligence, has never made a mistake. The truth is that you've produced in a magical way without having it need to be like everyone else. The truth is that whether you have those things or not, you are perfect, whole, and complete. You have the confirmation number called your heartbeat that makes it possible for anything to occur. So, last one for those of you saying, but you didn't say the fourth. The fourth one is we are quantum beings. So, I'm going to finish this off. We are biological beings. We are linguistic beings. We are social and historical beings born into beliefs and interpretations, and we are quantum beings. I go through all four of those and have been for years. I'm complete.
It feels like a deep sense of unattachment, right? It's you don't seem to be attached to any one thought, one idea, one way. This is a fucking river and I'm in it. And here we go.
I am attached, but lightly.
Okay.
I have high intention and low attachment.
High intention, low attachment.
That.
Talk to us about that. High intention, low attachment. I like that.
Yes. I am committed to experiencing the highest heights and the most beauty and the most love that I could possibly experience in this lifetime.
Yes, sir.
And I know that a part of that means that there will be what will seem like duality. There will be lots of light and lots of dark, but all of it is on the same coin. All of it is that. And so my unattachment, the one place you can get me with this is with my kids.
Sure.
Before I had kids, bro, I was, first of all, I'm even doper now with kids. And anybody who has kids, you understand why, right? But truth be told, that's the one place where I'm high intention and high attachment.
Yeah.
Because there's a primal thing in me that wants them to be safe and be good and X, Y, whatever that is, right?
Right.
But everywhere else, give a shit, bro. You can take all of this. I'll just get it back if I want it, right? Or I'll take another ride another wave, right? I won't lose. Can't lose. That's the difference. I know I can. People think they can. They think they can fail. They actually do. And for those of you thinking that, and you're like, yeah, that's true. It's not. As long as you have life, you can't fail. Right? I've done really messed up things to people. I've had really messed up things done to me. Abuse of all kinds. I've seen people die bloody deaths. Brains splattered on the ground. Writhing, trying to live. That changes you. Because you then get like, oh, nothing else mattered to this person but breath. Right? They take their shitty apartment over not being here any day. And even that. What is death? Right? That's what we're all trying to cheat, by the way.
Right.
Everybody's trying to, doing fillers in their lips and faces and ass and everything else. Look, I'm cheating death. No, you're not. You're definitely not. It's coming for your ass, right? No one's getting out of it. Right? It's okay, right? Like you want to look good because we need to like attract a person and like, cool, do what you do. But at some level, you're a slave, and that's okay, right? We all have that situation. Some people wake up to it. My dad didn't. My dad never woke up to it. He died. My dad died doing the same shit he was doing when I was 17 and when I was 13. And I spent a big portion of my life trying to stop him from doing that and making myself the savior of my father.
Yeah.
And he still died. The same way that I feared when I was 20 and 25 and 30 and 35 and 36 and 37 and 38. Can't control the uncontrollable. Some people hear the call and listen. Some people don't get to do that in this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's not up to me. It's really not. Right? And I think that we all get to have that same understanding. There's a lot that happens, a lot that occurs that is way out of your control. People think, and I'm going to go back to you, Jack. Not that I wish this on anyone. But the flight you miss, or the moment, the Sean being late, right? 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's an accident that you didn't get into, right? There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot that's moving on this puzzle, on this board.
Yeah.
And we get caught up in the idea that we are controlling it.
Right.
Right? That's why I surrendered.
Yes.
Right? My personality, I wanted to start at 9:30. Poor me. Right? And then I'm like, I see what you're doing.
Right.
Everybody thinks surrendering and learning personal development and transformation is in these big moments, right? Where I realized that I was, X, Y, and Z. Nah, homie. The biggest moments are the smallest ones.
Yeah.
Right? That's where I win.
Yeah.
I had somebody in my program recently and he was like, give me another distinction, man. This is awesome. And I was like, you are trying to get high. And I want you to get high on your own supply. And you know how you do that? Presence. Start scanning. There's stuff here for you. Right? Notice where the mind goes. Where does it go? 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And most of those are the ones from the day before and the day before and the day before. That's why I tell people all the time, elevation requires separation. What are you willing to separate from? What are you consuming digitally? Right? Sonically? What are you consuming? What are you putting up over your lip and into your mouth? What are you consuming? Because it's all playing together. It's all enmeshed. What are you consuming? Because that's playing a part in how you're viewing outlook, outcome. Outlook, outcome. And not outcome like, oh, more money. Because more money will come.
Yeah.
Some of us are an extreme yes to it, and some of us are a little yes. The ocean of abundance remains. You go to that ocean with a giant truck and you fill up the abundance, or you can go to that ocean with a tiny cup. The abundance remains. You cannot take from that. There will be no dent in that ocean. You, Jack, you have dump trucks lined up at the ocean of abundance.
Yeah.
Some people go with their little tiny bottle and they say, scoop. Oh, this is all there is. If you say so. If you say so.
If you say so. Amen. Brother, you mentioned something there which I think points to a really important part of your message. And this is something that you and I share, in that you said when you have high intention, you will experience what some may call duality, right?
Yep.
Big vision, big challenges. You're not saying align with the universe, high intention, low attachment, and you'll never have any problems, what we label as problems. You'll never have any challenges. It will all be easy. Yeah. That's not what you're saying. You're Correct. Saying the bigger the vision, the bigger the challenges. And there'll be times where we also need to amplify our work ethic in order to actualize those intentions. Can you talk to us about those things, navigating challenge and the importance of doing the work?
Yes. So oftentimes people, especially in the coaching space and industry, because that's where I spend a lot of time and help people, they'll say, how are you doing this with all those kids? Like, how did you get this successful? How did you get to millions without X, Y, and Z? And I'll say that, it's the quality of your questions. Because I'm constantly asking myself, out of all the things that could occur today, what's the top 3 that would usually take me a month to get done?
Yeah.
A month. I do in a day what it would take me to do in a month. So I'm very specific, right? I have this MLM breathing down my back right now. It's a beautiful one, right? But they're like, why? It's money for the taking, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you don't understand. I got here by sifting and sorting through what matters now, what matters for the next stage of my evolution, not, your gold, because I got gold inside of here, right? That's a whole different beast. I'll never, ever starve to death. And so it's the quality of one's questions. And that, right, we teach in the Bridge Experience, which is a workshop with my wife, the intention formula, which is intention minus reasons plus aligned, committed action equals results. Not good results, not bad results.
Results.
Intention. What am I intending? What do I desire? What is the sacred yes that's burning on my heart? What are the bullshit reasons I will come up for why this won't work? Oh, there's not enough time. There's not enough this. There's not enough that. Cool. Now let's go hack the game. I'm old enough, I don't know if you are, to know that there was this Nintendo, right? And Nintendo, you could play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and you could put this code in, and you could hack the game. Up, down, left, right, A, B, start. And you could go right to the top and fight Mike Tyson, right? That is what we get to be for ourselves. Anytime I set an intention out there, I say, okay, what's going to be the bullshit excuse, right? Oh, well, this and that and that. And I just disprove each one of them. So I get ahead of it. Then I add in, what is the most aligned, committed action that I can take today that would instantly produce the type of results that would have me so deep in the game that there's no looking back. I did that for every business I've had, and all of them, except for one, has been successful. And even the one that wasn't successful was deeply successful because I needed to fall on my face.
Yes.
I needed to feel what it felt like to not win at the game. So for me, that is one of the frameworks that I use all the time. Intention minus reasons plus aligned committed action equals results.
I absolutely love how profound that is. You mentioned the Bridge Experience. Now, you and Alexi have spent a lot of time in Australia.
Yes, we have.
So for those viewers and listeners that are in Australia, when can we expect to see you guys back?
Yeah, when Australia changes their stupid rules, man.
I love the honesty of that answer.
I love Australia. I
Yes,
swear
sir.
to God, I was probably Aussie in another lifetime.
Right.
Like, that's my place.
Right.
There's 3 places in the world right now that are just like, yes. There's actually 4. Austin, where we're at. Byron Bay, top of the list. Right? But all of Australia. I've been all over Australia. I've stayed there for months and months and months, over 8 years. So I've been everywhere, bro. Everywhere. Greece, specifically Mykonos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
And then East Africa.
Wow.
Those are my 4.
Right.
Right. And Australia is huge because we basically live there. We go and we'll camp out for months, and then we'll come back to the States, and then we'll go again.
Yeah.
So yes, for all the Aussies out there, as your government, and I knew this back in the day. I knew this 7 years ago when my friends would be like, oh yeah, the government takes half of our money. I'm like, what? Right. And like, there's no guns here. And I'm like, oh, that could get interesting later. Right. And it has. It has. And I'm not choosing a political side or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But there's just something interesting about all that government control that is not, it doesn't feel good for me.
Right.
I want to go back to Australia bad. They're like bad. I love that place. So just be on the lookout. Preston Smiles, at Preston Smiles. When it's time, we'll be everywhere.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So for those that have got an abundance of wisdom and even just the transmission from this conversation that want to continue following you, it's at Preston Smiles on Instagram.
Correct.
If somebody's in Australia, they'd love to do the Bridge Experience. You guys obviously aren't coming back live. Is there anything that they can plug into online or of that nature? Yes.
So there's Stretch 22, which is a really deep in dive with me that's affordable enough.
Yeah.
Usually every time I open it, it sells out. I take about 50 people every 4 months, and that is usually half Australians.
Right.
Because it's super valuable. It's a real deep dive with me because all my other clients are 50,000 and up. So this is a way to enter my world that's affordable for anybody who's on the come up.
Absolutely.
And we go deep. So Stretch 22, PrestonSmiles.com/stretch-22.
Yeah.
And then here in Austin, we created a men's movement called MPB, which you've been a part of.
Amazing.
And yes, that's Empowered Brotherhood. We have a beautiful, beautiful online space where we go deep. And there's things that can only be addressed with other men. And so that's called the Brotherhood. Anybody who wants to go to that, it's empoweredbrotherhood.com. You'll find it there. And then last but not least, Stefanos Sifandos, who I think you're going to have on.
Yeah.
Garen Jones, who you've had on.
Yeah.
And not Garen, I'm tripping. Christine Hasler and Alexi, my wife, we all created a institute called Elementum Coaching Institute, where we train coaches to be weapons.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with business and everything to do with trauma, shame, breath work, everything you can imagine, everything in one place. So any of those things, elementumcoaching.com, you can find us.
Yeah, yeah. And team, I do encourage you to look into all of those. Preston is absolutely the real deal and does and can help people from all walks of life elevate and transform their game every single day. Brother, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for today. I want to thank you for going through everything that you've gone through in order to become the person that you are. You truly are free. Source definitely speaks through you, and there's a very thin veil, if any at all. And so to form the connection that we're forming, and to have you on, and for you to share so much of yourself today has been absolutely beautiful. And I think I speak on behalf of everybody when I say we're really grateful. So thank you, brother.
Appreciate that. Much love. This has been super awesome, and you'll appreciate this. I say no to probably 50 podcast requests a month. Yeah. And energetically, and like I said, when you asked, how much do I know about what you do? I don't know much.
Right.
I literally just tap in, tune in.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to do this? If the answer is yes, it's yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's that simple. And so that speaks to your energy and who you be and what you've represented in the world, because it was an instant yes. And I didn't have the full cognitive understanding or awareness of quote unquote who you are and who you weren't.
Wow.
Just the energetics of it was a full yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that, brother. The beginning.
Yep. Let's get it.
Preston Smiles, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, man. Yes, sir. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you do 3 quick things to ensure you continue on this journey of growing into the very best version of yourself. Number 1, hit the subscribe button and make sure you've got notifications turned on. Number 2, check out more videos up here that you can watch right now. And number 3, stay connected. Follow me over on Instagram at Jack Delosa, or head to the-entourage.com in order to join a movement of 550,000 7- and 8-figure business owners. I look forward to seeing you there.